What's up, Brave Nation, and welcome to our Community Partner Spotlight for the month of January. This month, we do have the Rape Crisis Center of Robeson County, and we have our lovely representative from the organization, Lexi Locklear. So, how are you doing today, Lexi?
I am great. I'm having a great day. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I cannot complain. And we have two students right now, Zach and Sydney. And I'm so happy all of you guys could make it today. And so basically, I did just want to say thank you, Lexi, and just for working with UNCP, but not only UNCP, but working to serve the community of Robeson County through the Rape Crisis Center of Robeson County. Because you guys are really essential and vital for the community. And so basically today I'll be asking a few questions to Lexi, and at the end we'll give you guys some time to ask any questions that you would like for me or for Lexi. And so I'll just start off by with just tell us a little about the Rape Crisis Center and who do you guys serve and why do y'all serve them?
So, as Valencia said, I work at the Rape Crisis Center. I serve as the former youth and community specialist. I just transitioned into a brand new role. So I am currently the Native American advocate here at the Rape Crisis Center, but I still do a lot of the community outreach within the community. And so what we do is we do education classes for the community members on what sexual assault is, what sexual violence is, and the different forms that it takes against its victims. We also do healthy touches for little kids, so teaching kids about consent and boundaries at a young age so that they hold those values as they grow up. We also do hospital accompaniment for current victims of crisis situations. So whenever our hotline gets a call or the hospital gets a call about someone who is potentially in a sexual assault or in a situation that could be determined to be sexual assault, they always call our office, and we have an advocate go and meet the victim at the hospital, and we accompanying them throughout that whole process of dealing with the hospital, having a rape kit done, communicating with law enforcement or other institutions that they might not be familiar with. So we really just serve as someone to stand as an advocate for victims and help them empower themselves and empower their voices.
That's awesome. So, you said a mouthful, but why is this organization essential?
Yeah, so we are currently the only organization in Robeson County that targets sexual violence. So we are a standalone agency, which is kind of unique because in most counties in most counties in North Carolina, the domestic violence center and the sexual assault center are kind of like together. So they're all one organization. But due to Robeson County's large population and large makeup, they are separate in our county. So we're able to serve people more efficiently based on what their needs are and based on the magnitude of the people that we see. And I think it's really important because unfortunately our education system doesn't really tackle our body autonomy, and we don't really learn about how to have healthy relationships. No one really teaches us about boundaries and consent. No one really teaches us about how to communicate healthily with partners. So it's important that we have other agencies to step in and kind of gap that as much as, or bridge that gap as much as we possibly can. And so that's what we try and do at the Rape Crisis Center, is where we see that in other ways we might have failed as a society. This is a way for us to just give back and say, this is something that you need to learn about. This is something that is important for your children to learn about. And this is something that is important for the community as a whole.
So, while the Rape Crisis Center of Robeson County carries a very serious environment, what's just one part of your job that really makes you smile?
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is just I love seeing the impact that we can potentially have. So specifically for me, with education classes and being able to teach people about these things that they might not have known about before, it's very I don't want to say like self-pleasing, but it does bring me some kind of joy to see people have these set of ideas before I give a presentation, and then being able to open their mind and say, okay, this isn't something that I thought about before, but can you teach me a little bit more about it? That really makes me feel like we have hope as a community to say people are open to having conversations about these topics. People are open to learning more about ways that we can prevent it and try and intervene before it takes more a traumatic hold on people, I guess. So it really brings me joy to be able to say that there is hope in our community and that people are able to learn and people are willing to learn. I think the biggest thing is just having these conversations and having people come up and say, I want to learn more about it, or what are some other resources that I can use to learn more about it.
Yeah, that's always really good. Just having somebody willing to listen
Yeah.
and willing to serve. I like it. So, with that being said, what would you say the difference between volunteering is and making an impact and serving to make an impact? I'm sorry.
I think, for me, when I went into my undergrad career and I found out I had to have volunteer service hours, it was just something that was like, oh, this is just another thing for me to have to finish in my major. It wasn't really something I was very excited about. I thought of it as like an extra class kind of. But so that is what I imagine volunteering to be, is just doing something because you have to meet a requirement, versus serving with an impact is coming into an organization and saying, I'm here because I have to be, but what are things that you need as an organization? What are some things that you think I can do, or that you think that my specific age group or demographic, how can I reach them better for you guys? I really love when interns come in and they straight up ask me, what is it that y'all most need? And having a conversation with them about ways that they can help us reach college age students, or ways that they can help us reach children, or things like brainstorming and making the internship something that is not only for the organization, but that's something for you. And in most organizations, I feel like they do give you a lot of the ability to talk and give ideas to people. And I think as college students, we don't really understand how valuable that is and how much our experience can bring to an organization that is mostly, older people or millennials or boomers, having that other experience brought into it and being able to say, this is something that I feel like could benefit your organization. So always come into it with ideas, always come into it looking to give something back, but not only give something back to get something in return. I feel like you shouldn't just be looking at it as this is a requirement that I need to do for my major, but looking at it as something, how can this prepare me for my professional life in a better way to serve people in whatever avenue I take?
Yes, 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 yes. That answer was definitely people oriented, less like more than self oriented. And I think
Yes.
that's what service is all about. What
Yeah.
can I do for somebody else? Ah, I love it. Mhm. And so, what's a mindset or ideology that you believe is vital for a volunteer to have when serving with the Rape Crisis Center of Robeson County?
There are a lot, I think. But I think the biggest one is just realizing, or just taking into account your own biases. So naturally, we're all human. We all have some sort of biases that we are just predestined with because of our experiences, because of our where we're born at, whatever. But recognizing those and saying, regardless of what my personal bias is, every person that comes into this organization deserves to be served fully with everything that I have. Just that's as plain as I can put it, really, is just knowing that everyone here deserves to be served fully in the same capacity, with the same amount of resources, with the same amount of effort, give 100% with each client that comes in. Sexual violence does not it has no, it affects everyone. So someone can come in and you might not expect them to be a victim, but they definitely are. Like, you don't have, it does not, how am I trying to say this? It does not show any preference of persons, I guess is the best way to say it. You know, this is something that affects our community as a whole, regardless of or regardless of your social status, regardless of your race, regardless of your age. This is something that affects us all. And so realizing that any person that comes in, I need to put away my prejudice, I need to put away my bias, and I need to serve them fully.
So, what does it look like for a volunteer to make an impact while serving with the Rape Crisis Center of Robeson County?
We have been blessed with having some wonderful interns in our past. One of our most recent interns was a BSW student from UNCP, and she, when she came in, she was like, "What is something that you guys need? What is something that I can help you with?" And we kind of gave her the option to really do her own project, and gave her the creative freedom to find something that she was passionate about and, bring it to us. We'll talk about the idea and we'll work from there. And so one thing that she saw was maybe like a comprehensive guide for interns to follow. So the correct trainings that they need to do to better understand the work that they're doing, the resources in the community that we often use. So it's basically just like a comprehensive guide for every intern or volunteer that comes in. And she really, really put a lot of effort into it. And, she come up with a huge binder of resources for future students to use. So that is going to impact our interns here on out. It was in 2021 when she started that. So like from 2021 on, all of our volunteers and interns are going to have this comprehensive guide created by an intern that is going to better help their experience here. So that's just the biggest thing that I can think of is how impactful you guys are to us, or how impactful volunteers are for us, because it really just, you can change the organization just by being here with the simplest thing.
That is awesome.
And also, we only have 3 staff members here at Rape Crisis Center. We're a fairly small organization, so a lot of the work that we do is grant-based, and we are very limited because of our grants on what we can do specifically. So having volunteers to come in who are a little bit more flexible with things that they're able to do in their respective job titles, or not volunteer titles, they're able to do a lot more freedom. They're able to have a lot more freedom than we are sometimes as staff members. So it's easier for me to say, this is a program that isn't really under my grant description, but I have a volunteer that can do it. And so talking with a volunteer and then being able to complete the presentation on my behalf, or complete the presentation that I might not be able to do. And so we're able to reach a wider variety of people with that kind of thing.
Mhm. Mhm. That's yeah. I can just say yeah. That is so so really good. Um so as I know, this is a pretty serious environment, but what does it feel like to serve at the Rape Crisis Center, and what are some of the emotions or thoughts behind the work?
Um, I think first is a lot of sadness, kind of, when you realize the magnitude of the problem that we're facing and how often we get clients, and the sheer amount of clients that we get yearly and monthly is just a feeling of sadness of, I'm so sad that this is happening in my community and that this is affecting this many people. And then behind that is kind of, I guess, like a feeling of honor. I think is the best way to say it, because I do feel very grateful that I'm in this position and that I'm able to serve my people the best that I can. It really is just a feeling of honor that I'm able to be in a position and be humbled to be in a position where I am able to serve people when they're at a low place, and that I can be someone who can offer them some sense of empowerment along their healing journey. And being with people on their healing journey is a very humbling experience. So I think that there are a range of emotions that go into this job, but just knowing that I can be used to help someone else in any other way. If it's just someone coming in and needing toothpaste, I can possibly provide them with toothpaste. Being someone who can offer any kind of lending hand or any kind of help and support is just what the foundation of community is. And I'm very honored that have been able to be in a position where I'm able to serve my community in a more I guess practical and or more hands-on way, because being a part of the community, you're able to volunteer, you're able to do a lot, but actually serving and being in a place of employment, I have found that I'm able to do a lot more.
So, if a UNCP student wanted to serve at the Rape Crisis Center, what would be the necessary prerequisites for them to do so?
Yeah. So first, just call and ask if we have any room for volunteers. And right now we have a ton of room for volunteers. We need volunteers. We also have I think we have a position that is currently open right now. So we only have 2 staff members right now. So we need volunteers to help us with hotline service, hotline calls, and going to the hospital. So you just call us and we kind of cater to what you want to do. If you're not comfortable going to the hospital, that's totally fine. You don't have to do that. If you're not comfortable answering hotline calls and you'd rather do presentations in the community, that's perfectly fine. We kind of cater it to whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you feel like would better serve you. So we do require you to do a volunteer training. That's really the only prereq, and it is kind of necessary because when you're going into this work, you have to have a background of what you're going into. We kind of just give you a sexual assault 101, kind of telling you the ins and outs of it, and the best way that we as an organization serve people. So we make sure that you are doing trauma-informed care whenever you are a volunteer.
Thank you. Lexi, what's just one thing you would want the students to take away from the spotlight?
I guess just, and y'all probably hear this all the time, but community is so important. We could not do our job here if we did not have the support of other community members and other community organizations. Even if it's just someone donating something, that is such a vital part of our organization and is integral to our function, and our success. And honestly, that's just it. Community is so important. I could not do my job if I didn't have volunteers to help me. I couldn't do my job if I didn't have interns to help me. I couldn't do my job if I didn't have someone coming and volunteering or donating their used clothes, or things like that. Like anything that is, anytime you think that someone is doing something by themselves in a nonprofit, throw that out of the window because it's completely impossible. We lean on each other for everything, and that is just so integral to us, is just using our community resources and using our community knowledge and our just other people having helping hands is so important. So whatever profession you choose, just recognize how important it is to have a community that supports you and that you support also.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lexi, so much for being a part of this community partner spotlight. And like I said at the very beginning, thank you for being a part of the Rape Crisis Center's impact in Robeson County. I definitely appreciate that.
Of course. And thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to talk more about our organization, because that also is community help, getting our name out there and just letting people know that we're a resource for others. So a shameless plug, if if you know anyone who is in need of our services, or if you are in need of our services, I'm sure Valencia will share our information with you. But just know that we are available 24/7. We always have someone on our hotline, and if you just need someone to talk to or just vent to, that we're open ear.
I definitely will help you guys get in contact. Um, we actually have some Rape Crisis Center handouts here in the Dogwood House if you guys would like to come by and get some as well. So, Lexi, just one last question for you. How can interested students contact you or the Rape Crisis Center?
Yeah. So I do have our phone number. Our phone number is 910-739-6278. And if you just call that number, tell whoever answers that you're interested in volunteering, they will connect you with a staff member who can give you some more information and set up a time for you to come in for our volunteer training.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. And I'm hoping that we have a lot of students that come to you guys and just want to volunteer and make that impact in the community. But do you guys have any questions, Zach, Sydney?
I had one question, Alexia. What is the volume of people you have coming up for services annually?
Annually.
Just off the top of your head, it doesn't have to be exact.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure of our number, but I can say that we had a 60% increase at the beginning of COVID with the amount of people that we saw. But I am not sure of that specific number off the top of my head, and I don't want to give you a wrong number. But I can research it and give you that information at a later time if you
No, I just wondered if you had an idea. And another question is, did you study social work?
I was a sociology major in
Sociology.
college with a American Indian Studies major also.
Oh, awesome, awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Okay. All right. That was all the questions that I had.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Yeah, so this is the end of our community partner spotlight with the Rape Crisis Center of Robeson County. I thank all of you guys for coming out. I thank you, Lexi, for coming out to speak. And I just want you guys to know, if you would like to volunteer with this organization, please, please do so. I support it. I support it. So definitely reach out so that you can volunteer. But I would like all of you guys to have an awesome, great day.